You're a man.
Well, thank you.
But, and I don't mean that in a glib way, though. It's like to see you now in such command of yourself on screen was really quite wonderful to watch as Calvin. And so for you, what inspired you the most? I mean, I know this movie is about the power of creation, inspiration, and love, but you had to have loved this and been inspired by this in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, first of all, it's sort of originality and the sort of unexpected and surprising journey that these two characters take was something that I love as a reader and as a viewer. For Calvin, you're just given a lot of rich building blocks right off the bat. He's had this huge success and can't follow it up and has writer's block. His brother's his only friend. He's some significant ex-girlfriend. He's lost his father. His dog is supposed to help him meet people, and that's not working out. So those are all just wonderful things to sort of sink your teeth into and build and say, okay, what was that ex-girlfriend like? And why does he still type on this typewriter? And all this stuff, and what does he need in his life? And then to have this dream about a girl and take off on this magical journey, it was great.
Your final speech at the end of the film, I think, is the one that probably had me in my car for 10 minutes wanting to sob.
Oh.
It was so achingly romantic and so beautifully delivered, and I love the idea that the act of falling in love is like an act of magic. Why is that then? Why is this an elusive thing for so many of us?
Well, I don't know. It's ineffable. It is magical. I can't put words to... Words also don't do love justice sometimes. It's very hard. So that's part of it. I wouldn't have the words to describe my love in life. It would be very hard. They just don't measure up, and it's a crazy, magical thing.
You have a lot of us out there wanting to like race out the door and find somebody here. Love me, please. I beg of you.
Yep. It's hard, and the part of this film is probably about bringing your romantic history to something, meaning the idea of who you fall in love with versus the real thing. And I think the honeymoon phase, the idea, right, of who you are, and then the real thing, and being able to see the person for who they are and not try to change them or control them, and I really like that about the film.
I love the reality that even though you play a character that is in control of this relationship, so to speak, you have your own girlfriend in control of how this narrative is supposed to play itself out. And so I'm wondering at times that you find yourselves laughing at the interesting parallels of this.
I think we probably thought for a moment, a fleeting moment, about the irony of that sort of thing, but that is fleeting and totally not a part of what we did. Zoe started writing something, we really liked it, we wanted to push it out into the world and bring it to the best people possible, and once we were on set, it was all about Calvin and Ruby. It was not about us, and we just tried to be there for them, and those sort of external things that now you can look in on were not a part of when we were actually doing it.
Now, obviously, Jonathan Vale did a fantastic job in keeping you all focused, and the tone of this film is remarkable. This could have gone either way. This could have been a high-concept Disney film where it's a magic typewriter, and it's not. And so how important was it for all of you to have this unified front to make sure that Ruby Sparks is told in an authentic and honest way?
Well, I think it's, I mean, the film would not be what it is if the four of us did not have such a healthy, intimate collaboration and all want to make the same film, and a lot of love and care went into trying to do that at least. And I think that was the best thing that Zoe and I did was send this to Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris, because they did an extraordinary job with the film.
What made me feel really good about Ruby Sparks was, I know we're living in a very cynical age. I think there's this misconception that, particularly a certain generation, younger generation, isn't romantic. They are very, I guess, black and white about feelings. Maybe because it's harder for them to express them because of how we live today with devices and so forth. Do you agree with that? Do you think that romance is sort of kind of a bad word today?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I don't personally, but I think I am a romantic, and I think making films is very romantic to me, as is love for me. So I do know what you're saying, and I think cynicism is widespread, and I think technology does have something to do with it. And I think the fact that a lot of what people say these days doesn't have to be face-to-face, and I think we have other personalities when we're typing. It's easier to label people, and I think that ties into some of the theme of the film about having the idea of somebody, right? So if you blog about somebody and create a term for a type of artist or whatever, you're actually reducing them, and so it's interesting.
For audiences who are going to discover this for the first time, I mean, it's such an interesting concept, and it could be one of those crazy, 80s comedies in one way too.
Mm-hmm.
But we do like being told what it is to feel and what it is to love. Why do you think as an audience this genre continues to resonate so strongly? Because it's very challenging to kind of get people a truly romantic film that makes them feel both the emotion and the humor at all, because this is a very funny film.
Right. Well, I hope that we made a film that people can relate to and bring themselves to it and find something personal in it. And so far that has been the reaction. And I know that's what I go to the theater for, to have some sort of emotional experience and disappear and go on a ride with some characters that you love and enjoy watching and experience the highs and lows with them. And I hope that's what we did. And so far when we've shared it in cities with audiences, it seems like they've hopped on that ride and have enjoyed it and have been rather overwhelmed and surprised by the film.
Well, Paul, I'm going to go get a typewriter today.
Nice. Okay, good. All right, thank you.